Welcome back to the Daily Spark. In our last episode, we talked a lot about skills, strengths. I gave you 2 assessments that I hope you were able to take that help us better define ourselves. And so today, as we continue to become more self-aware about what makes up our human advantage in an AI world, I want us to now shift our focus to what complements our skills, and that is our values. Now, Brant Menswar has been on the show a couple of times. Actually, he's one of the few people that's actually been on the show twice. He first came on to talk about his book Black Sheep when it came out in 2020 and why our values help us define what he calls our non-negotiables. He really beautifully articulates how our core values are like black sheep. They are, he says, distinct, undeniable, and absolutely critical to our identity. Just as black sheep's wool cannot be dyed, he says, our core values remain true to their nature. They act as our moral compass, guiding us in making choices and navigating the unknown. And guess what? He even has a free assessment. Yes, this week is just filled with free assessments to help you identify your own black sheep values. So let's explore how understanding and aligning with our core values can lead to more authentic and purpose-driven decisions. And let's face it, we are tasked with making decisions all the time. So I want you to think about those moments when you kind of felt like at a crossroads where you were unsure about. And so that's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to think about those moments when you felt like you were at a crossroads. You were totally unsure about what path you should take. It might have been a career decision. It might have been like a personal scenario, or maybe just like something random every day that you just didn't even think twice about. It's really in those moments that the things we are consciously deciding and subconsciously deciding that our values really are sort of like this deciding factor in being able to guide us towards a very specific outcome and direction. And the reason I say subconscious is because we are always making choices, even small ones, like should I pick up my phone right now and like check this message? And the more in tune and more aligned you are with your values, the more even on a subconscious level, because you practice them so regularly, even choices where you're not like spending so much time thinking about what should I do, what should I not do, your subconscious will be more aligned with those values because you practice them more regularly when you are consciously making those decisions. And the reason this becomes so important is that the more alignment you have between your skills, your strengths, and your values, the more those decisions and those choices are going to help you be more satisfied with how you feel when you are in the process of something, and hopefully with the outcomes as well. So for example, if one of your core values is integrity, then maybe you want to reflect on whether your daily actions mirror this. Are there instances where you feel like, wow, I wish I had taken more of a stand, or I wish I had said this, and I wish I had more courage to do X, Y, Z. Just that self-awareness will allow you to see how aligned you are with those values and perhaps where there's an opportunity for you to practice them even more. So how do you know what your core values are? This week is filled with assessments, and let's take a cue from Black Sheep, and we can start by taking Brant's assessment and really being able to identify our 5 non-negotiable values, which is what his assessment will help you do. So what are the principles that you wouldn't compromise on even if you were under pressure? You can begin doing this right now, like I said, by heading over to his website. I'll have a link for you in the show notes, and taking his free quiz. And of course, his book is just an amazing follow-up resource. I actually read it in just one sitting. It was that easy to read. And once you have your quiz results, you can then head over to your favorite AI tool. As you all know, mine is ChatGPT. And although I have been playing a little bit with Copilot here a little bit, but in today's Daily Spark prompt, which you'll find in the show notes, you can edit, cut, and paste. Our situation is that here you are. You now have taken the assessment. You have an understanding of your 5 core non-negotiable values, but now it's really all about aligning those actions with your values. So you're going to share the top 5 results that you got from taking the Black Sheep assessment with the AI tool. And basically we're going to say that, we are sharing these because we want to do more of what matters to us, and we want to align more with our daily actions, choices, and our values. The problem we're going to be looking at, though, is the challenge is sometimes we are completely overwhelmed by external pressure or emotions. We might lose sight of our values or struggle to sometimes even just be aware of how they are fitting into our daily decisions. These are your values, but maybe you aren't quite sure how to use them. And truthfully, I really believe that a lot of burnout and a lot of feeling overwhelmed actually comes more from not so much the hours in the day or the tasks that you're doing, but the misalignment between what sparks you, what energizes you, what your values are, and what you're actually doing. And it's really important to recognize that just because you're doing work that, is what energizes you or that is making you fulfilled or is meaningful to you or is aligned with your values doesn't mean it's easy. Sometimes actually it's harder to do those things, and discipline becomes even more important in really keeping you accountable, but you're not feeling burnt. I always say sort of like, we're not burnt out by the hours in the day, or that we don't need more hours in the day. One of the things I often share is that we're not overwhelmed by the hours in the day. We're overwhelmed by the inefficiency that exists within those hours. So the more aligned you are, the more energized you're going to be by how you're using your time. But I do want to clarify that this does not mean that things are just going to be really easy for us, or that, we're not doing anything at all. Okay, so now that we're back from that slight tangent we just went on over there, our aspiration today is that the goal is to basically to be able to bring your values into the spotlight, to not just know them, but to really be able to live by them as well. They should be your guiding North Star in the story of your life, helping you navigate through uncertainty, making decisions, and tough choices. The results we're looking for today is you basically want the clarity and confidence that comes from making decisions that are rooted and aligned with your core values, because that's really the kind of purpose-driven life that many of us are aspiring to. And of course, last but not least is going to be Kismet. This is where you are going to go and ask your AI tool to help you actually come up with a strategy. You want 3 very specific actions for things you can do to implement in your life to basically honor being able to be aligned to those values in a more fully complete way. You also want to ask your AI tool to ask you any questions about what you have coming up so that it can better guide you. As we close today's episode, I want you to remember that values are more than just words. They are commitments we are making to ourselves, empower us to lead a life that is more authentic, more purpose-driven. And I want to know, what are your top 5 core values? Embrace them, live by them, let them guide you. But I would love to hear what they are as well, in addition to how the prompt worked out for you. It's really important for me to get this feedback so I can keep refining the prompts, making them better. So if you have a story about how you have been using your AI tool to help you get better aligned with your skills, your strengths, your values, let me know, because your story could inspire so many others as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Spark.